Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jamie. Now, we have been talking about how we're going to be making money, but to be on the road to become truly wealthy, we need to start our own companies. The number one reason for starting your own company is that you will be able to save lots of money in taxes. How you're going to save it? Now, look at this. For someone like me, I get paid every month from my job. No, when my job pays me, what they do before I see any money at all is that they go ahead and take out the government's portion to pay to them on a monthly basis. Now, I don't even know how much I'm getting paid, but the government already in my money taking out what they want. For a business, it's very different. Businesses pay their taxes after they deduct their expenses and everything that is going on at the end of the year. For our paychecks, nobody really cares what happens. So with the paycheck, nobody cares if you're going to buy food, if you're going to pay your bus fare or buy gas to get to work next week. That's your problem. With a business, you may be able to deduct these expenses from the business income over the year. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe. And if you're going to subscribe, just hit that notification bell as well. And please hit that like button. Because when you do, what happens is that YouTube will show our video to loads more people. You can always connect with me on social media. I'm on Instagram at JARadcliffe and Twitter at JARadcliffe2030. Alright, now let's get into it. Incorporating a company in Jamaica is not that hard. What you need to do is to fill out the form and basically pay for the incorporation. But it still follows a process. I will be going through the process from start to finish. So basically, you can go tomorrow and incorporate your very own company. The first thing you need to do when you're incorporating a company is to think of a good name. Now, the name that you choose, it cannot be close to another name for a company that is already registered in Jamaica. So to avoid this, what the Companies Office of Jamaica does is to offer a name reservation service. Now, this service is not free, but it saves a lot of time. What happens is that when you're reserving your name, the Companies Office will search its database to ensure that there are no names that are close to the one that you are choosing. And once it is that they find that your name is good and you get the green light, then you can go ahead and reserve the name. Now, there's two methods to reserve the name, or two time periods. You can reserve it for 1, 7 days, or 2, 90 days. To reserve it for 7 days, it costs $500. To reserve a company name for 90 days, it's 3,000 Jamaican dollars. So it all depends on when you plan to register your company. Then you can go ahead and select your reservation period. Now, you can reserve the name either on the Companies Office's website or at their Kingston or Montego Bay branch. Now, there are two types of businesses that you can register in Jamaica. One, you can register a business name, or you can incorporate a limited liability company. They also cost way different to set up. For a business name, it costs you $2,500 to register, or a partnership. Now, while a regular business name costs $2,500, if you're doing a partnership and you have more than 5 partners in that partnership, then the price increases to $5,000. Now, business names tend to need to be renewed every 3 years, so you're going to need to pay attention to that once you're registering a business name. A sole trader business name, when you're registering it, you will notice that once you get back the documents, the credentials for the business is not much different from your own. So it basically takes your TRN and so on to register the business. So it's pretty much you're the one trading as. So it's going to be like Jamie trading as Jamie Radcliffe Inc. or something like that. The partnership, on the other hand, because you're going to have more than one person, it would normally get like its own TRN and its own credentials to operate. For a limited liability company, it goes through basically the same process as registration for a business name. The only difference is that you're going to click some other buttons, plus a limited liability company needs to have an articles of incorporation. When you're doing a business, it costs you $24,500 to incorporate it, but there's a kicker here. If you pay only $24,500, you're not going to get the copies of the articles of incorporation. Now, if you plan to open a bank account, you're going to need the articles of incorporation, and To be honest, if you're going to incorporate a limited liability company, it makes no sense you don't have a bank account, right? You're still going to need to pay an additional $1,500 to have the articles of incorporation printed and certified. So you can go to the bank and get your bank accounts and so on. So right there, you'll notice that the entire cost for registering a limited liability company is $26,000. So, but as I said, you can still pay the $24,000 if you're short on cash, but then you'll have to go back to get the articles if you want to get a bank account at a later date. All right. Personally, I think it's just best to go there one time and get everything over with. And when you pick up the documents, you just get everything all at once, because company's office always have a very long line, and I would say just get it over with one time and just done with it. With the company, you're going to get like full new credentials, everything. The company will have its own NIS, TRN, everything. So because companies, limited liability companies, are basically a person unto themselves. I said this before in another video, where if it is that your companies, like the directors of your company, feel that you as the owner is not acting in the best interest of the company, they can actually get the court to get you out of managing the company and put you in a position where you're just another shareholder. Now, what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to go to my computer, because I'm going to show you all the different forms that you have to fill out, and there's a couple of things that you need to take into consideration when you're filling these forms out. All right. As I said before, I'm going to show you the entire process that you need to go through in order to incorporate your own company. Now, I'm going to switch over to my computer here and show you the forms and so on and where to get them. All right. As you can see here, I'm already on the Companies Office of Jamaica's website. Now, the website is orcjamaica.com. Now, what I'm going to show you guys here are the forms that you need to get in order to incorporate your company and so on. Now, you have a lot of forms here. So as you can see, there are a lot of forms. We have like 111 entries as listed right here, but we don't need all of them to start a new company. So what I normally do is to just come here and filter my form by the group. Now, we have new business or new company. It all depends on what you want to do. So as I said, you can incorporate a business name or a limited liability company. Now, when you're incorporating this, you're going to need the forms. Now, normally what I choose are the fillable forms, because these documents, I think it's best not to put your handwriting on them unless you write very good. Like for me, I have atrocious writing, so I'm going to type up everything. So I normally just use the fillable forms and done, and just only put my signature on the forms. All right. So you can go ahead, download the fillable forms and fill them out, because as you can see here, this is saying business registration form for new companies and business names, super form. Now, remember I said that incorporating a company and starting a business name, it normally starts out the same way, because this form right here is the same form that you fill out to start the company and the business name. The difference is the articles of incorporation. So here I've already gone ahead and filtered it again by new company. Now, for the new company, as I said, the other form is the articles of incorporation. Now, most companies are limited by shares, and that is the one that I would say to incorporate. Understand? You can incorporate by different stuff. You can incorporate by guarantee and so on, but the regular company to incorporate is one that is incorporated by shares. All right. And see right here, we have the same BRF form. This is a fillable one. This is a non-fillable one. So for the non-fillable, you would have to go ahead and write it up. Okay, now what I have up here is the very first form. This is a BRF form. The one that you use to register a business name as well as a company and partnerships. Now, the first thing you see when you pull up this form are the instructions. Now, this is saying that here we have application for new companies, new business, TRN, NIS, TCC, and so on. Now, this shows all of the acts and so on that this form speaks to. Now, under that, we have the instructions. Now, it says this form should be used by all customers when creating either a new company or a new business name. Okay, so one thing you do, guys, make sure you read the instructions for these things when you're filling them out, because here it's going to even show you where you need to fill out depending on what you're going to do. So it says when you're creating a new company, you need to fill out form 1A, 1B, 1C, depending on what you're doing. Now, as I said, we would normally do companies limited by shares. So we would fill out a form 1A to do a company limited by shares. When you start the form, if you notice right here, I can't really enter anything on the form. I need to tell the form what it is that I'm trying to do. So these are the only two things that I can select. So what I'm going to do here is to select whether I want to incorporate a company or I want to do a business name. Now, when you select one of them, then that is where you see how the form, see? So once you select what you want to do, you can also select a type of organization, whether it's a government organization, a not-for-profit, or an other. Now, not-for-profit organizations, there are two ways to actually do them. You can register with the charitable organ. There's a charitable society that you can register charities with, or you can do them through the company's office. All right, but we normally click other because we're doing for-profit entities. Now, after you select your commencement date and so on, if I had chosen company here, then I would have to select whether it's a private or a public company right here. But I'm going to select company for now. I'm not going to select a business name and so on, okay? So see right here, I have to select whether I want a public or a private company. Normally public companies are listed on the Jamaica Stock Exchange, so persons can go ahead and buy shares in that company. No, not because you select private right now means that the company will always be private. If you decide at some point in time you want to have your company listed on the stock exchange, you can go ahead and put in a new request for it to be transitioned over to a public company. All right. Now, these forms, they're pretty simple. So here we have the name of the business or the company. So this is where your name reservation would come in. So you select the name that you want. I can select Jamie if I had selected that. Now, if you want to, you can put anything, as I said. Just ensure that a reservation came through, because you don't want to fill out the form saying that you sure no one took your name, but then when you go there, you have to do it all over again. All right. So just make sure you do that reservation, guys. So you have your name, your company name, and you fill out all these, right? Now, once you have your business, you have to have an address. This is where you fill out your address and so on. So it's pretty standard what you're going to do. So you have your address here, your mailing address. You're going to also put your actual business location, which can be the same as your registered address. Now, the registered address is normally where you keep all the business documents and so on. So your articles of incorporation, your incorporation certificate, and so on. So as I said, pretty basic stuff right here. Now, this one here is where you choose what it is that you're doing with your business. So following the boxes, it's pretty straightforward what you're going to put in them, all right? Now, number of directors. The reason why this asks for number of directors here is that the form is pretty intuitive, because if you put 2 directors, what it's going to do is to only free up 2 slots. So you can't enter a 3rd director once it is that you choose 2. You can only choose 2 slots. So if you're going to enter 5 persons, make sure you put 5 persons here. So that way the form will open up 5 persons. Because see right here, none of this is open as yet, because I didn't tell it how many directors I'm putting in. Now when I tap down, see right here, it's telling me that a schedule is required for individual directors exceeding 4. So once you have 5, you're going to need to fill out another form. Now, the other form, it's pretty much the same thing as this right here, where we have the directors and proprietors. It's just on another sheet, because this sheet can only have 4 at a time. It can't go past 4. All right. So you put in your name, sex, and so on, address, telephone number for the person. You can also select if this person is a company secretary. Now, if you don't select this person as a company secretary, then later down in the form, you're going to need to have a company secretary named. And next thing, depending on the type of business that you're opening, you're going to need to show like professional certifications and so on. So like if you're a doctor, you need to show all of these professional certifications to show them that right here. So field or profession, you're going to need to show your certification. So whatever, for a doctor, they would get their certification from the Medical Society of Jamaica and so on. And I think it expires like annually or something like that. So you will put that information in here and also provide that certificate from them to show that you are a registered practicing doctor in Jamaica before you can incorporate a company to do medical services or something like that. All right. So as I say, you go through the form here, pretty standard stuff, guys. All you pretty much need to do is to read this one right here. The reason I stopped on this is because not only persons can be directors, you can also select companies to be directors. Now, when you select a company to be a director, you have to fill out their information here, select the classification of the company and so on. But for our purposes as persons, as small business owners, guys, we normally don't have a company that is a director. So we can pretty much just bypass this portion of it. All right. This is where I told you that if you didn't select someone as a company secretary, then you're going to have to enter their information right here. So this is where you enter your company secretary. But normally for a new company, you can select one of the directors to be the company secretary. GCT registration. Now in Jamaica, currently, if you're making over 10 million per year, then you should register for GCT. But if you're not going to make that, you can go ahead and select no here, because once you do not pass the threshold, then you don't need to apply for GCT. It's when you feel that you're going to pass the $10 million threshold in a single year that you would need to register for the GCT. You can also get your TCC. So once you're doing a new company, you can apply for a TCC at the same time and so on. Now here we have one of the directors signing the declaration, because you're going to need someone to sign the form, correct? Yeah. So somebody has to sign the form, guys, and then once you put it in, you have someone else file it, because normally not the directors for the company would file the form. So whosoever is filing the form for you, they will put all their information here, including their TRN. Now, this is right here that we'll put all the directors. So if you notice right here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 slots open, but we still have 3 slots that we can't select. That's because we chose 5 as the number of directors that we would be using for our company. Now, as I said, pretty standard stuff down here, company secretary information here again, and their IDs and so forth. Now, after you pass this section, there are more information down here. One of the things that you need to pay attention to at the bottom of the form, not even the justification. If you notice here, you can only choose a certain name, or you can't choose certain names. So like Crown, you can't choose Crown. It has to have an E at the end. It can't be just Crown. Or Royal, it has to have an E at the end also. But what I want to show you guys is right here, the certification table. Depending on what it is that you're registering your company to do, you need to know if you need to provide additional support. So for accountants, they need to show that they're licensed with the Public Accountancy Board, and they need to show all their certifications. Now, as you see here, you have architect, legal, attorney at law, barbers, banks, beauty therapists, and so on. So there are a few of them that you need to take into consideration when you do it. See, physiotherapist, radiographer, and so on. So make sure you read this part and ensure that whatever business you're incorporating, you have all the necessary license and so on to submit to the company's office if it falls in one of these categories. Next, we're going to look at the articles of incorporation. Now, I told you before, this is what differentiates a company from a business name. Now, the articles of incorporation, you're pretty much going to put back what you put on the regular form over here, but it's just going to have a couple of different things, and I'm going to highlight them in this form. So we're going to choose our new incorporation here and so on, the name of our company, which we already have. This, you only choose a justification if it's applicable. You can actually leave it blank. No, you choose a type of company, your core business. That's what your company is going to do. But It's not normally restricted, so even though you choose your core business here, you can venture off into different aspects apart from your core business. Now, as I said, right here, company telephone. Now, these are your articles of incorporation right here. You need to tick the box that pretty much relates to you and then submit the form with the ones that you want to use. When you're incorporating a company, a limited liability company with the shares, you have to select the amount of shares that you're going to have in the company. So this is what you do right here. You tell the amount of shares that you want. So you can say you want 1 million shares or 10 million shares. It all depends on what you want to do, guys. And you can also break down the amount of shares that you have. So you can say that you have ordinary shares or preference shares. We already did a video about ordinary shares and preference shares. I'm also going to leave a link to that video in the description below. So you guys can go ahead and watch it after you watch this one. So you can get an understanding of what ordinary share is and what preference shares are. Now, right here we have restrictions. So you can decide restrictions. Because it's a private company, you can decide how you want the shares to be transferred. So whatever it is, for this one here, they have given you like an example. So it says directors must give consent to the transfer of shares. But you can make it whatever you want. It's all up to you at the end of the day. So just go through, guys, and as I said, majority of this is the same information as we had put in the first form, the one for registering the business name or the limited liability company. So it all going to have the same thing, but the next thing that you need to look out for is right here, beneficial owners. Now, this is where you're going to tell who actually owns the companies. Now, it's normally one of the directors for a smaller company. So you can have them, so you put their name, their address, their nationality, their occupation, and you're also going to put how many shares they own. Now remember, all depends on how much shares you own. It shows how much control you have over the company. So for a smaller company, if you don't want to issue out all the shares to yourself, then I would recommend having at least 51% of the company, between 51 to 60% of the company, to ensure that you always have control. So if you go through, you will notice even in this form, you can have companies. So you see, particulars of subscribers who are companies. So here again, we can have companies owning other companies because, as I said before, they are their own persons at the end of the day. So after you go through the form, you can see where you need to fill out and so on. And then you just pretty much finish it off. Right here, you have to have the person filing it again with their information. And you have your director information right here with their email address, TRN, their name, and everything. Your company secretary needs to sign right here and so on. So these are the things you need to look out for when you're opening your own company, guys. So these are the forms that you have to fill out and such. If you need more information, guys, you can actually reach out to me because I normally fill these forms out for new businesses and so on. But you can also go on the company's office website to see if it is that the information that you want is there, or as I said, just reach out to me. So thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't yet subscribed, and as always, thanks for watching. So even though I showed you guys these forms and so on, you can still go on the company's office website and see how everything is there and just get yourself comfortable with the information on the site. All right, bye bye.